want to take into account how good he was. He has 3,116 strikeouts. And if you want to go by strikeout to walk ratio, among pitchers with at least 3,000 innings pitched, he's second all time. So, I mean, here's another number I'll throw at you because I know you love numbers almost as much as I do. Win probability added, which is a metric that accounts for how good a player is when he's on the field in regards to his results. There's only one player in postseason history to back up what you said that has a higher win probability added in regards to his postseason performance than Curt Schilling, and that's Mariano Rivera. So it's 1 and 2 with how great he was in the postseason.
The only thing that Schilling does is he probably pisses a lot of people off politically.
he's got dirty thumbs.
He just opens his mouth up, he starts talking, and I'm going, shut up.
You think?
Yeah, right. You think?
Yeah, right.
If he tones it down, he'll get 6 votes, more. He'll get 300 next time,
No.
He'll be fine.
He needs a good public relations guy. Yeah, he needs a good public relations guy. Yeah, how many times have you heard the phrase, Mark, just shut up? I mean, on the air.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to remember where I've heard it in TV. We don't have that much time but just shut up. Just like LeBron James, we don't need about the decision. Leave your public relations out and you might get further ahead of the game. Now that's for another day.
I agree. He needs to switch from Hunt's ketchup to Heinz or something on that sock. I don't know. But whatever.
Oh, that was funny. Gosh, Hunt's ketchup to Heinz ketchup. I'll remember that one. I know Lewis won't forget it. But yeah, you're right. I guess the word "just shut up" would remind him. But when you look at the ballot for next year, I gotta believe though, Mark, that really has to be his best chance when you look at who's on there. You have Roger Clemens, Barry Bonds. Who? What did they get?
Right.
Bonds got 60.7% and Clemens 61%.
Which doesn't seem like much of a jump from last year.
They were at 59 and 58.
Well, they ain't saying much. 2% with these two clowns, right, Mark? I mean,
you're right there. It's going. Which one took more of the juice? Which one?
Yeah, no, I know. I mean, so now
maybe that weight on scale right there.
Yeah, that's funny.
But Clemens is, he was a little shady. He was pretty shady about certain things, and he was lying a little bit and this and that, and he wasn't living up to his standards. And he stuck his big foot in his big mouth, and he couldn't get it out.
Oh yeah.
And so it continues to stay in to some degree, and he doesn't want to end up like Rose, where he keeps denying, everything. He needs to turn out to be a nice guy at some point, instead of beating the shit out of some of the little league dads, maybe. But I don't know. And then, of course, Barry Bonds. Barry. I played with his dad. I played with Bobby, and Bobby, for some reason, liked me, and I got along with Bobby really great. You got two guys that are total opposites. You got one from L.A. Watson, you got a country redneck hick, and we got along really well. And he said, "Hey, country man, come over here. I want you to introduce my son to you." Well, it was Barry. We were out in San Francisco, and so Barry's up there. He's been as a rail. It's his first year in ASU. He's a freshman, and he's probably weighing $185, then, and so we're sitting there talking, and and Bobby, and so I'm talking to him a little bit, how you like ASU, all that bullshit, you like the women and stuff. And so Bobby said, "Hey, we got to go. I'll catch you down, in the clubhouse after the game." He said, yeah. So we turned around, we started walking. I turned to Bobby, and I said, "Hey, can that little shit hit?" And he says, "I don't know." So I'll never forget that.
Well, he sure could hit.
One, actually.
Well, I've got to tell you, though, Mark, back in 1987, I was the director of public relations for the Gastonia Rangers. And you ever heard of a guy by the name of Sammy Sosa, 16-year-old? And I was his PR guy. And for that matter, Mark, I had 10 guys, 10, 12 people, including coaches, on a 94-loss team that made it to the big leagues. Think about these names. I'm going to do a little name dropping. Ready? Dean Palmer, Juan Gonzalez, Sammy Sosa, Wayne Rosenthal.
Yeah, Juan Gonzalez, the first player
just to name a few.
With 100 RBIs before the All-Star
break. All right,
break.
That's fine. And then Comerica Park scared the hell out of me. They didn't want to play there anymore. So that's for another day.
How many games How many games did they lose?
We lost over close to 94. Chino Katahia was a manager on that team. And, I'm telling you, Juan Gonzalez, we were at a hotel out in Asheville, and he one time got so angry he picked up a one of those little sheet, things where they're changing the lenses and then dumped it over inside of the hotel. It was unreal. I mean, I was up there with my team at the Asheville. I mean, but think about it. Bob Malloy was on that team, and there were so many guys that I can't think of them all off the top of my head. But all you need to know is Dean Palmer, Juan Gonzalez, and Sammy Sosa, Wayne Rosenthal, and that's a pretty good starting list right there. And so I guess my point is,
you had some late bloomers out there. Sure. They were young and dumb.
Oh yeah, yeah, right. Late bloomers. That's true though. But 90. That's and you know what? If you Google up 1987 Gastonia Rangers, anybody out there that bothers to do so, you'll find that it was a pretty interesting team for a 90 plus loss team. And I was there to watch the whole thing. And in the end, we had owners that were so cheap they didn't want to spend money on a bag of dirt for the last 2 games of the year, or 1 game of the year. In fact, Sammy Sosa, I have a soft spot for the guy because we got along good. We used to joke around all year. And and I'll never forget the time when the Cubs were playing the Marlins here at Joe Robbie Stadium, and a lady by the name of Sharon Panozzi, wouldn't let me talk to him. Said, Sharon, I was the director of public relations in '87, for whatever the hell it was worth. And you know what I did in front of this woman, Mark? Only a guy like you can appreciate this story, okay? Hey, Sammy. And then what's going on? And you know what? He smiles at me with a grin, wild eyes from all the way from Maine all the way to Alaska, man. You know a Sammy Sosa grin and a smile, right, Mark? I said, all right, Sharon, do you understand? This guy knows me. I work with him. I want that one-on-one interview, and I expect to be credentialed tomorrow. You know what? I got my one-on-one, my man. And
there you go.
Yeah, so I guess what's the moral of the story here is when you deal about characters, I have a soft side for Sammy Sosa when it comes to what he's meant for me with the stories and the memories I had. Unfortunately, the reality is, as much as I don't want to believe that he used performance-enhancing drugs, a cork bat to beat the system, I still have a heart for the guy no matter what it is. So my question to you is this, Mark. When it comes to Hall of Fame voting, do you think that a player's relationship with the media has everything to do with it? Will it make or break their candidacy to get in? Because you've got to really be able to don't bite the hand that feeds you, and most of them are learn too late in the game to try to bridge the gap later.
Well, it sure can't hurt you. You sure don't want to make enemies anytime, because in baseball, your name, it spreads good, bad, indifferent quickly. And you do something wrong, it may be blown out of proportion. It may not be.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So you've got to kind of run a straight ship for yourself, for the most part. And when you go behind the doors, you can let down then. But basically not until then, because you're also an ambassador,
right?
For the game, and that's a big deal. So a lot of players, we had those meetings in spring training, where you have, the ones, be a good PR man for your team, talk about your teammate more than you talk about you, when you're out there. We have the drug thing, we have the criminal thing on the betting, we have the thing where, the chicks come up and want to marry you, and then, have 14 babies with you, and then, there's all kinds of stuff out there, the drugs, you have all these talks, and you have the dietitians talk even, and everybody eats at McDonald's on the road, and in the minor leagues anyway, they'll have these dietitian talks, and you can have a buffet over there. You can have 3 fast food, joints over there, and 90% of the players will go to the fast food joints, and about the 2 guys that won't ever come close go eat with the coaches at the buffet, whatever.
Now, Mark, I wanted to ask you this because he got a bit of a jump this year, and again, you're a St. Louis guy, so you may have seen him play back in the day, but Scott Rowland, for a while, was considered one of the more underappreciated third basemen. He's really up there with Adrian Beltre and Brooks Robinson when it comes to some of the best defensive third basemen in history. I've championed him for the Hall of Fame for a long time, and I have a piece coming out in the Tribune soon on why I believe this needs to be the case. From when you saw him play, what did you think? Give me an assessment of Scott Rowland from somebody. I mean, how great would it have been to have him playing third base for you while you were pitching?
Oh yeah, would have been super. I mean, unbelievable tools that he had, and one that big word for me comes up: consistent, day in and day out. And guys that could actually hurt you. He was a gaps guy.
Mm-hmm.
He could put the ball in play, and he could drive the ball. He's a line drive type guy. So those are the kind of guys you don't like to face. There's usually two or three that are pretty good on each team that you're pretty much aware of, and that can do the damage to you.
And by the way, Mark,
go ahead.
By the way, the restaurant that I ate when I was in North Carolina, I was introduced was a Cracker Barrel. And I got the
there you go.
And I got the free coupons from the owners, so I got to try it firsthand. Since it was off I-85 headed towards Charlotte. Didn't mean to get off subject, but you were talking about McDonald's. Those Cracker Barrel's not a bad alternative either. So.
No, mashed potatoes with cheese.
So sorry,
not at all.
Sorry to take you off that, but that was fresh in my head. I had to talk about it. So.
Well, I'm a big food guy myself because matter of fact, when I was in rookie ball at 18 years old. They wrote me up as the biggest eater on the team pretty much immediately.
Really?
Yeah, I pretty much wiped out a buffet one day. So.
Did you really? Wow.
Anyway,
but
I knew better than to go to McDonald's. My mom was a nurse, and she always made me carry spinach and green beans and with a can opener. I mean, are you kidding me, Mom? Come on, shit.
Popeye.
That's funny. So, all right, getting back on Rowland though. He stands a chance to benefit next year by arguably a weak class. So before I get to Rowland, do you think that Roger Clemens and Barry Bonds could make the Hall of Fame next year or the following year? They got 2 years left to go, and the writers are a stubborn bunch. If they don't want you in there and they've held you out this long, you got to wonder whether those two actually get in.
Well, they're Royd guys, and you don't see Clemens out there too much. You don't see Bonds out there too much. Their names as much, and they could. It's kind of like we were talking too about Pete Rose. Pete Rose had the chance 2 years ago when he was on ESPN, and he kind of blew it.
Right.
And I think baseball wanted to give him a chance actually to say, hey, go out there and be a good guy and let people know that you're a good guy, and we'll think about, getting you back in. But he didn't want to do that.
Right. Well, that's true.
I think Bonds has to do the same thing, and Clemens has to do the thing. Maybe the roids haven't wore off yet. I don't know.
Well, my gut feeling is if they don't get in the next 2 years, you can rest assured the writers or the Veterans Committee will definitely keep them out. They got 2 years to get it right. There's very few guys that can get away with not getting along with the media that got in. Case in point, Eddie Murray of the Orioles, and Steve Carlton's the biggest one of them all, where he wouldn't talk to the media, right. But because their numbers were so good that they got in despite their lack of ability to be political to get in. But other than that, you better make sure that you're able to do your PR to get in the Hall of Fame.
Well, the only guy I can think of right now like that is Mike Trout. But Mike Trout, to me, is a really cool guy because he thinks baseball. He doesn't want to be bothered. He's not hurting anybody. He does a certain amount of PR, and and when he is, he's all good. He just doesn't do a lot of it.
Yep.
And his psyche is to sit there and think baseball while he's playing. And if that's what works, that's okay.
But that's different. This guy's thinking baseball. It's not like he has an agenda with the media. He just zoned in on baseball. Right. There's a difference between not getting along with the media and acting like a jerk versus a guy like Mike Trout who's out there trying to minimize the distractions, focus on doing his job and becoming better. And nobody could ever hold that against a guy at all. I don't think they can. I mean, Mike Trout, to me,